What's good, YouTube, man? I'm back with another video. I'm doing this video as a response to someone that told me that closing the distance is easier when two fighters are fighting in opposite stances. I completely disagree with that because that's simply just not true. It's a lot more complicated to close the distance between two fighters with opposite stances. I'm going to explain that in this video. Stay tuned. So check it out, guys. Philo Greco is the orthodox fighter. He's right-handed. Errol Spence is the southpaw fighter. He's left-handed. Now you notice Philo Greco lead hand is out. Notice the green marker and notice where Errol Spence is at. Now, range. This is important. So in order for Errol Spence to hit Philo Greco, the green marker, mind you, they are not closer because they lead hands and they lead foot are close. The target is the green marker. You don't win boxing matches punching people's arms, and you can't hit their feet. Stepping on toes is not scoring. So his target is where the green marker is at. So how does Errol Spence hit that green marker? How does he do it? He has to jab, or he has to use his power hand. I'll tell you which one is more effective. The jab is more effective. It's a lot more easy. It's a lot easier to throw a jab and close that gap that he needs to close to get to the marker. But the only problem is Philo Greco has his lead hand out. So it's going to get in the way of Errol Spence's jab. So to say that they're closer is just not right. That's completely wrong. And in all actuality, if Philo Greco was to change stances at this very moment, he would still be the same distance away from Errol Spence as he is right there. The only difference is where his feet is placed. He wouldn't get no closer or further away from Errol Spence if he decided to switch stances at that exact moment. He would not. So look, the green marker once again is the target, not his lead hand and not his lead foot. So it doesn't matter if they lead foot is close. It doesn't matter if they lead hand is close. What matters is that green marker. That's what you're trying to hit. You know, you don't score in boxing hitting people gloves, Brian Castano, and you don't score in boxing stepping on people's toes, okay? You score clean, effective punches, and how's he going to hit this dude? How's he going to hit him? He has to close the gap, but what he's doing is he's keeping himself out of punch range. You know what I'm saying? He's not making himself an easy target. He's keeping Errol out of his range by keeping his lead hand out there. The lead hand is basically his shield. So he don't really have no way to throw his jab. And he can't use his backhand. He can't use his power hand because he's just out of punching range. So how is he going to close that gap? It's a lot more complicated. Same basic concept. Look at Mr. Benavidez and look at Mr. Crawford. Please tell me, how are either of them going to really land a punch? A jab at that. His hand is all the way up there. Look at Jose Benavidez's glove. All the way up there. Look at Crawford. Do you think if Crawford shot a jab, you think that would hit Benavidez where that yellow marker is at? Do you think Benavidez, if he shot out a jab, do you think that would hit where that yellow marker is at on Crawford? Do you think it would? No, it wouldn't. What's stopping them is the fact that their lead foot and their lead hands are guarding them from that. Now pay attention to what it looks like if it's not in the way. If that lead foot not in the way and that lead hand not in the way. Pay attention. This is why I say Terence Crawford should fight Errol Spence in a right-handed stance, not a left-handed stance. You see how easy Errol Spence is able to jab? You see how there is no lead foot blocking Errol Spence and there is no lead hand blocking Errol Spence? He able to just shoot that jab out with no resistance. There is no lead hand. There is no lead foot getting in his way. There is no real barrier. So he's able to just jab at will. He can jab a southpaw at will without having to worry about, okay, how am I going to get around his lead hand? Or how can I neutralize his lead hand? There is no lead hand battle to worry about. There is no lead foot battle to worry about. They the same stances, so everything is good. This is why I said Terence Crawford should fight Errol Spence in a right-handed stance so he can make it harder for Errol Spence to jab. Putting Errol Spence in a southpaw stance makes it easier for him to jab. There is no resistance. There is no lead hand getting in his way. There is no lead feet stopping him or nothing like that. Fight Errol Spence in a right-handed stance. So this is what people need to understand. When fighters are in the same stance, you can throw the jab much easier because there's nothing in the way. You know, there is no lead hand in your way. There is no foot battle, none of that stuff. So he can just shoot his jab out normal. He could jab normal. You know what I'm saying? A fast jab, a strong jab. His ordinary jab, he could just throw it, you know? Because there's no real barrier for him to like overcome. Now pay attention to when there's a stance difference. So Terence is in southpaw, he's in orthodox. Look at the struggle it is to actually throw the jab and actually land the jab effectively. Because he's on his way to landing this jab effectively. He's working it. This is the first round. He's trying to establish it right now. So he was doing a good job, but he just got it taken away from him. Another example right here. You see Terence Crawford, his lead hand is in front of him, and is now at this point, since he's a southpaw, is blocking Jose Benavidez's lead hand. So imagine Jose Benavidez trying to shoot that jab. It can easily get knocked down. It can easily get parried. It can easily get blocked. Terence Crawford can also shoot over the top of Jose Benavidez's jab if you time it right. You know what I'm saying? That's something that Terence Crawford is real good at. Jose Benavidez can shoot his jab, and Terence Crawford can counter by coming over the top of his jab. You know what I'm saying? So it's really complicated, and Jose Benavidez understands that, so that's why it makes him hesitant to throw it. But I'm going to show people in the next clip what not to do against a southpaw when it comes to landing your jab. I'm going to tell you, the next video will show y'all plain and clear why it's so complicated to jab and close that distance against a opposite stance fighter. This honestly right here is common sense, right? So when you fighting a guy that's the same stance as you, it's very much easier to close the gap between y'all two, because all you have to do is take a step behind your jab, 2 steps behind your jab, double jab, shuffle, however you want to do it, behind your jab, and you can close that gap. Now you see him, they opposite stances. Blue gloves, shoots the shot, he steps with the jab, and guess what? since they opposite stances, he going straight into Janabek power hand. He literally stepping into Janabek's punching range. He closes the gap, but him closing the gap puts him in range for Janabek to counter him. You get what I'm saying? So it's not easier to close the distance against someone who is opposite stances of you. It's a lot easier to close the distance against someone who has the same stance as you, because you won't be going directly into their power hand the same way you would be if y'all had opposite stances. So basically, the only thing you got to really worry about when you fighting somebody with the same stance as you is they jab. They lead hand is going to be open. You get what I'm saying? So they can fire their lead hand at will. When it's a lead hand battle, they don't necessarily have the means to shoot their lead hand at will. They can't really, shoot their lead hand out at will because yours is in their way and theirs is in your way. You know what I'm saying? So that's the biggest problem. They lead hand is in your way. Opposite stances, they lead foot is not in your way. They lead hand is not in your way. You could just shoot a jab and you can step with it. Only thing you really got to worry about is they counter jab. And I would take a jab opposed to going right into someone's power hand and get knocked out any day. I'd rather have a jab I had to worry about than someone's lead hand stopping me and blinding me and I'm getting caught with a big ass power punch and I get knocked out. But that's all I got, man. I'm out of here.